Welcome to Android tutorial. Today topic is content provider. We are going to discuss how to give access to your data to other apps through content provider, how to define a content provider and how to access this content provider from the other apps. Let's go to the Android Studio. Let's see the process and steps involved in that. I need to create a content provider. Go to the file, new and other, and click on the content provider. Here I am giving as a content provider for AMP database. I am giving as a for AMP database, and authority I need to give. The naming convention is mostly with the package name of the app. So I am giving this dot provider. So the naming convention is Android website and suggests that give the package name and dot provider. So based on what is this authority? Based on this authority, Android system identifies this content provider. Then exported and enabled must be checked. Exported means this content provider can be accessed. We are giving access to the other apps, and enable means the system can instantiate this content provider class. So let's go to the finish. Click on the finish, and it has created the content provider class, extends the content provider, and it has the callback methods delete. If we are giving other apps to execute these methods, delete, insert, query, update, these methods that other apps can call, and here we implement the operations on the database in this app. Let's see one by one. On create, we need to initialize the content provider, this content provider. Whatever it must be initialized. Here we have to initialize in on create. We are accessing the database. So create an object for the database and get the instance for the SQLite database, so that based on the instance we can access the data in all these methods. Let's go to the manifesto file. See this provider entry is there. This is created when I create the content provider. This is content provider name. This is authority. This authority is based on this authority, system identifies this content provider. It helps content resolver helps identifies this content provider by this authority name and permissions. We can give the permission, so that based on the permissions, if user want to access this content provider, they have to take this permission in that app's manifesto file. So I'm giving the permission as form.in same package name dot permission, and that permission I need to give it here, and I need to create. It's already created, and I need to take that permission here also. If you want to access within an app also, we need to take this permission. So that's it. And let's implement the content provider. We need to use the URI matcher for creating the root node and the nodes, the based on the nodes we access the different type of the, let's discuss URI match or and here you have to give minus, that is it creates the root node. So I create the static block so that it executes when the content provider for AMP this class loaded instance. Before it create the instantiation of the create the instance the this content provider for AMP, this it executes the static blocks when class is loaded to the DVM, and URI match or dot add URI. This add URI, we add the nodes, and based on these nodes we will give access to the other apps. I'm coding now. That's see here, if the first node is for the AMP table and the second node is department table, and I can give row level access also. You can, so that nodes we can create depends on the node, and we return back we give access to the other apps. We can give row level access also. We can we can give the table level access also. Here I am discussing about the table. I am giving as a 1. If I have a department table, I give as a 2. So where you can use inquiry I sees this, I can code the switch statement. There I can get URI dot match. I need to pass the URI which is passed by the client app, and it decides the if it is 1, I am accessing the AMP table. If it is 2, I accessing the department table. Let's see. I need to code here. So the client apps has to pass these parameters. What is this parameter? And look at here. We have already discussed about this in escalate session. Here I am giving it now. See here, this is the parameter, this is the string projection, means which columns we need on result table, and string selection is string projection is which one we need, and string selection is what are the based on which field it's required, and string selection odds. This one we need to pass here. This is the selection odds, this is the selection, and where clause statement. Next is what is the parameters we need to pass. So based on this, I think this is the selection odds I need to pass. So let's code. So I don't want to code this for explaining about the content provider. Since I have already defined method, I will use that method and see on create. I will go to the on create. I will create the